Andrew McCart, iFLTV, delighted. It's been a long time, Mr. Frank Smith. I mean, you've been busy, Cougar's been busy, you've all been busy down in London, having a good time while I've been stuck in the cold in Scotland. Before we talk about that, I know there's a little bit about this main event here, this Terri Harper versus Rhiannon Dixon. A little bit of needle there, which I was unexpected on my behalf, but yeah, how excited are you for this fight?
Yeah, look, I'm just glad. I'm glad we're here. Firstly, it's been a bit of a nightmare. We've had a few moves. We were in Sheffield, then we were in London, then we were back in Sheffield. I'm glad we could keep the show on, and I said it up there. Big thanks to DAZN as well for their support, because without them, it wouldn't have been possible. A great main event between these two, and respect to Rhiannon Dixon jumping straight in there against a true test against Terri Harper. Terri Harper, 2-weight world champion, coming back to 135. This is a proper fight, and a proper fight that sets up huge opportunities for the future for both of them in big fights down the road.
You mentioned this. There's been three different locations for this fight. But when you've got a big fight like the Joshua Dubois thing going on, and then you're still juggling this fight sort of stuff, how much of a headache is it for you?
Boxing's a headache in general, is the reality of it. And if you can't deal with headaches, you shouldn't be in boxing. Every day's a bit of a mess, and this is just another. Like I say, this is the fourth scheduling of this event, really, where it all changed around. So we just have to keep things moving, keep focused, but just another day in boxing, mate.
Definitely. The undercard as well. I mean, this is the bread and butter. It's all well and good having that Wembley 98,000 people in it with Joshua Dubois, but then when you've got these young kids here, you've got George Liddard, you've got Jimmy Sains, you've got Vizioli, you've got Josh Babb, you've got Brandon Scott. These kids need to go on shows as well, and this is the bread and butter, so this is good for them as well.
Yeah, 100%, and that was always the focus for us when we made this fight. Keep it on. It was about, ensuring that the fighters who have trained hard kept active. Like you say, a great host of talent on there. Peter McGraw's, on the card. Galal Yafai, Jimmy Sains, Giorgio Vizioli, George Liddard, Ibrahim Spider Sullivan. So many great fighters on the card. So much great talent. So yeah, that was the focus for us, and I'm glad we could do it.
Galal Yafai still on the card, even with November 30th coming up?
Yeah, he's still on the card. I think he heard it was very cold in here, so we stayed away.
Well, definitely. As I was running late, the rain was unbelievable coming down. Traffic was bad, as always, for me, Frank, when you look at this young talent here, when you look at the talent, like I said, on this card, could you see one of these fighters doing what you just did last Saturday in Wembley? Could one of these fighters do it, or does it have to be a heavyweight? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I think look at what George Groves and Carl Froch did. It's always hard, and I say this. People say, "Who's the star? Like, who's going to do X, Y, Z?" And I look at, I always say, and I love Tony Bellew. He's like one of my closest friends in boxing, right, that we work with. But who would have said Tony Bellew would go on to be in a Hollywood movie and sell out at Everton and fight Usyk, Hay twice in pay-per-view? Do you know what I mean? After Danny McIntosh fights back in the day when we first did those, who would have thought Lee Wood would have done the numbers he did in Nottingham? Who would have thought Josh Warrington at the start would have done what he did? And this is no disrespect to it, but it's so hard to pinpoint and say this guy's going to do it. It takes so much, and it takes a lot of luck as well in terms of to pick the right fighter. The fighter's got put in all the work, but when you're looking at fighters, it's very difficult to do. Anything's possible though.
But can you see one on this card? Can you, if I had to put a gun to your head and you look at the talent that's on this card? No, I won't do it. A pretend gun.
I could see Peter McGraw at Everton, at the new Everton Stadium. Anything's possible. I'll say something now, but again, I look back 10 years at people, and you go look at the path and the journey they've gone on. It's hard to look and say that.
I've got to ask as well, I want to go next week. I know you spoke about it a lot, but it's still a hot topic, really, this Joshua Dubois fight and the whole event in itself, and the sort of soap opera behind the Ben Shalom and Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren stuff. But I know you spoke about it at length, but I want to just talk about Anthony Joshua and what's next. Now, when you look at Tyson Fury fight, we've been wanting that in here in the UK. Win, lose or draw, is that a fight could be made? The immediate rematch with Daniel Dubois, looks like Frank Warren said it'll be next year, Daniel Dubois fights. So for you, trying to navigate Joshua's career, because I believe he's not retiring, as he said, what's next for him? Can you see it now?
Look, he's someone who always wants to challenge himself. He showed that when he fought Andy Ruiz, lost, came straight back in there, won the rematch. He showed that when he jumped straight back in there with Alexander Usyk. He loves the sport of boxing. He could retire tomorrow or 5 years ago and he would have been absolutely fine. He's made a lot of money, he's done very well, but he always wants to improve, he always wants to be involved in big events. What's next? There's big fights to be made, whether that's the Dubois fight, which is an option there obviously, whether that's the Fury fight, and I say this regardless of results, I think the Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury fight is one of the biggest fights in boxing, regardless of belts and results. That's my honest opinion. It's a fight I think we have to see before they retire. But, it's 4 days ago now that he lost. Let's let the next few weeks go by and we'll see how things play out.
Can I chuck a name in the hat? Now, obviously, being Scottish, Martin Bakole. And the reason why I say but what I'm saying is the reason why, I'm going to give you a reason, right? I'm going to give hopefully a good reason, is I spoke to Martin and Billy and whatnot, and they mentioned the 50th anniversary of Ali Foreman being in the Congo, and it's this year in October. Again, it's probably too early right now, but would that sort of fight make sense? You've got the African heritage from Joshua, you've got Martin Bakole in the same arena as Ali Foreman 50 years on. Does that make sense? I mean, I know you love a marketable fight. That seems marketable, does it not?
I've had the discussions with those guys who are looking to do that kind of stuff. I don't think it's gonna happen, honestly. But I don't think Martin Bakole brings enough to the table. Anthony Joshua is a commercial global star in the sport.
But Joshua did say why not fight? Did he not say I seen a clip of him saying he'll fight Bakole?
That's up to him. I'm just giving you my opinion of I don't see what I love. By the way, I get on very well with Billy Nelson. I've known him a long time since we worked with Ricky Burns. But yeah, not really a fight I think makes any sense.
One final one from me. Again, I'll probably have to try and get my clickbait from you somehow, some way. I was listening to the Talksport coming down here, and obviously the Simon Jordan thing's always going to be there, but there was a sort of he never said it. It was a fan that phoned in that said it, that with the sort of with what Turki Al-Sheikh is doing and with Frank and Eddie's jobs, they're going to be obsolete in a couple of years. Do you believe that? Do you believe there's no point in having somebody like Frank and Eddie in the sport if Turki Al-Sheikh's managed to do it all by himself?
No, look, I think when you look, there's thousands of boxing events that take place all over the world, non-stop, to build fighters up and get them to that place of those Riyadh season shows. I think Riyadh season's great for the sport, but we're always going to need promoters to build fighters and build the sport like this. Yeah, every night is important in the sport, and it's all part of a journey. So again, I don't agree with that statement. Everyone can have their opinion, but I don't agree with that statement in all honesty.
Frank, as always, thanks so much, my man. See you in the next one, brother. Thank you.